What in the actual fuck? Are you serious right now? What the?
Our sounds.
Okay, there we go.
All right. Now, hit the one we normally play. Scroll all the way up.
I don't really have time for that.
That one. That one. Just hit that one.
I need caffeine. Alcohol. Woo! Yeah, you can't see shit, huh?
The mouth sucks.
And you can't see shit, huh? What's up, people? Live from the Good News radio station, Touchdowns and Tangents. We got a caller right now. We're going to answer.
Hello, caller. What's your name and where you calling from?
What's going up, guys? It's Cory. Calling from good old Alabama. How y'all doing?
Good. For those of you who don't know, or you may know, if you listen to the show, he's a friend of the show, hardcore CFB, calling all the way from Alabama.
Penn State fan.
The king of Penn State.
It's officially hardcore PSU football now, by the way.
Ah, officially?
Lady. That's what's up.
Officially.
Oh, man.
How y'all been? It's been a while.
Moved into a new office space. I got locked out 15 minutes ago in the hallway. It was some serial killer shit.
The Ethernet cord fell out the computer, but
the screen started glitching. The Clippers are a relevant basketball team. It's anarchy, man. But
nothing changed then.
Yeah, you're kind of right. I mean, except like for college football's sake, like Iowa was the top 2 team, and you know they got boiled alive by Purdue. But Penn,
a little pun right there.
Yeah, you know, I figured like a Boilermaker. I made the pun, so you know it all came together. But the big
on that one for a little bit, huh?
Yeah. I was like, when I get to pull this out my pocket, I'm using it. Like Boilermaker, like there's too much, and then Iowa Hawkeye, like there's just too much there. But you look at the Big Ten and how funny things turned out. Cincinnati should honestly be a Big Ten team, but they're not. They're going to the Big 12, and they're actually technically the best team in Ohio right now.
Yeah. You got a question for me?
That's what I was looking at him like. Where's the question?
Yeah, the question is, so what's up with the Big Ten right now? Like, it's just cannibalizing itself.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just, just starting, too, because, you look at the AP poll right now, and Michigan State, Michigan, Penn State, and Ohio State, they're all going to be playing each other here in a couple weeks. And I don't know if you guys know that out there, but, someone has to win and someone has to lose every game. So someone's going to win and someone's going to lose. And probably only going to have one, maybe 2 teams in the Big Ten East in the top 10 after that. So it's hard to really tell how, deep the conference really is this year. I mean, obviously it's the first time ever that they had 5 teams ranked in the top 10 of the AP poll. Really, I think it's just more of everyone taking care of business in the out-of-conference schedule, besides Ohio State, obviously. But, you saw Michigan was able to take care of Washington. Penn State was able to beat Auburn. And then everyone else just didn't lose to somebody they're not supposed to for once. So I don't want to say they're crazy better than before. I think they're better than before, and they didn't make a lot of mistakes. And then everyone else in the country is making a lot of mistakes. So you got to give credit to Michigan and Michigan State because being undefeated at this point, I mean, including Cincinnati too, and a few others that are still undefeated, being undefeated right now means something. So you kind of have to tip your hat and acknowledge that being perfect this far into the season, that's been a crazy one, is still impressive.
I mean, with Luke Fickell, they said he might go to USC. Now they're saying he's probably going to stay put. And the way conferences are kind of shifting, do you feel like the Big Ten is, especially with Alabama losing, has the Big Ten kind of replaced the SEC for the time being as like the top conference in football?
I don't think it's replaced. I think right now I would probably argue the Big Ten East is better than the SEC West, but the Big Ten West is awful. I mean, right now you could make the argument that either Purdue or Minnesota might be the best team in the Big Ten West. And I don't think either of us would, in any circumstance, even if we were stuck in a squid game and had to choose Minnesota or Purdue to beat Georgia, we just wouldn't do it. I mean, we'd quit. I mean, it just wouldn't happen. So, I mean, I think there's some good teams in the Big Ten. I just don't know overall with the way Georgia's playing, with the way Kentucky's playing, that they're necessarily the best. I think it's more of an argument than in previous years, though. But there's still a lot of good teams in the SEC, and I think we're learning a little bit now as far as how deep they really are, because Arkansas sure doesn't look the same as what we thought they were maybe 3 weeks ago. So we're learning things, and we're going to continue to learn things in the next couple of weeks. I think the hard thing to do is to say the Big Ten is stronger than the SEC when it's pretty clear right now, at least, that the SEC has the best team in the country. So that being said, it's always hard to put the best team in a country's conference behind anyone else when they obviously have the best team. So I don't know as far as USC. I mean, we can get into some USC and coaching rumors and stuff, but I don't know if I want to depress y'all that much.
Yeah, I there's not enough whiskey at this table. I'm glad Clayton's gone. I'm just taking my blessing, as they come. But since we're talking about job security, James Franklin is like a conundrum wrapped in a mystery inside of like a rejected bag of like Jack in the Box tacos. I don't understand. Like, it seems like he should be fired, but then, you lose to Iowa, but realistically on paper, Penn State has much better athletes than Iowa. Like, I mean, Clifford did get hurt. So it's like, what are Penn State's prospects realistically going forward?
Well, I think, you can make the argument. I mean, I think everyone in the country knows that if Sean Clifford didn't get hurt in that game, they probably would have won by 14, if not more. I mean, it was technically when Penn State got the ball back on offense, it was a 7-point game. But Clifford had figured out that Iowa defense, they'd scored in their last 3 possessions. I mean, it was going to go downhill fast. And Iowa's offense, we've saw what they did against Purdue. They weren't going to be able to come back if they had to throw the football. That being said, I think Franklin's job security is 100% safe. I mean, that's at this point that's a given. I mean, you can go back and look at the recruiting classes. It's probably going to end up being a top 5 recruiting class when it's all said and done for 2022. But the thing that really impresses me is his ability to find quarterbacks. So Drew Aller, the number 1 quarterback now, 5-star prospect according to 247. He was like a 600th ranked recruit 2 years ago, and James Franklin was able to find him. They did the exact same thing when nobody knew who Justin Fields was. Justin Fields was committed to Penn State. So they're doing a great job finding these kids and scouting these kids, and everyone else is catching up. On top of that, I think he might have the 2 best assistants that he could ever have as far as defensive and offensive coordinator. I think what Mike Yurcich has been able to do to Sean Clifford is nothing short of a miracle. I mean, Sean Clifford looked like a fish out of water last year, and honestly even the year before, at least consistency-wise. And now, I mean, he claims he's the most confident quarterback in the country. So, I mean, just to even hear him say those kind of things is pretty crazy. As far as rumors go, as far as coaching rumors go, I know and I don't know a decent amount as far as James Franklin and what has kind of been going on. So the very short version of this is Franklin wants to stay at Penn State. But the issue was, and always has been at Penn State, is they haven't had a coach that really wanted or required money to stay, ever. Joe Paterno was going to stay there no matter what, and they never have to worry about finding a new coach or ever worry about him, pushing them for more money. So they never had to worry about it before him. Bill O'Brien comes in. Everybody knew Bill O'Brien was going to want to go back to the NFL eventually. He stayed 1 year, even though he was already kind of thinking about it after year one. And then now James Franklin comes in, and he is constantly trying to get not just donors, but the board of trustees to commit to the program. Recently, they just had a $45 million loan come in to start building more of the football building. That took an arm and a leg for Franklin to get past in order to start building. So he's constantly going over these hurdles, and why people think it's possible he would leave is because he gets tired of it. He could go to an LSU where everyone is going to throw as much money towards the football program as needed. He could go to a USC, and what I've heard on the rumor wheel is that USC has already come to him and has basically offered him $10 million a year and a blank check for pool assistants for assistant coaches. And I don't think he's accepted that offer at this point. I do know that LSU, even before they fired Orgeron, went to Franklin before the Auburn game. So anyone thinking that LSU has just now decided to do this is wrong. They've been thinking about this. They've been prospecting for a while. The difference between LSU and USC is LSU has this idea that people should be wowed by them offering, and they were somewhat turned off by the fact that Franklin wasn't just up in arms and ready to accept. Franklin's already coached in the SEC. He's already at a Power 5 school. They could probably go out and get a Billy Napier at ULL right now if they wanted to. He'd jump at that offer. He could probably, if they wanted to, maybe go get Mel Tucker right now. They'd probably jump at the offer. But that doesn't work as well when you're talking to a Jimbo Fisher or Dabo Swinney or even a James Franklin, because they've already kind of done those things before. USC, the biggest reason why people were trying to get, or at least trying to see why the puzzle might fit for Franklin to USC, is honestly comes down to two things. Number one, or I should say three things. He would dominate the recruiting in California. I mean, I'm sure USC fans are so tired of Oregon, so tired of Alabama, so tired of Oklahoma coming in and stealing all the recruits. Franklin would do a fantastic job as far as getting the kids in California to stay. And he could honestly win Pac-12 championships easily with just probably a 100-mile radius of LA, easily. Number two, obviously lots of money and exposure. I mean, you can't really ask more than what USC can bring in that department. But number three, and probably the biggest reason why people thought this would be the case, would be an easier route to the playoff. You have Oregon out there, and that's about it. UCLA showed some glimmers of hope, but really compared to what the Big Ten East is, especially this year, or what LSU would provide in the SEC West, I mean, he's got a much, much easier path on the West Coast if he wanted that. Now, what I've been told is, although that sounds fantastic if you ask me, if I'm just trying to win a national championship, if I'm starting up an NCAA football dynasty tomorrow, I'm just trying to win one, I'll go over there in a heartbeat. What I've heard is he has already worked the Penn State administration and the boosters and the board of trustees so much, and he's pulled the wagon this far.
He's right there.
He's got a top 5 class coming in, and he believes, and I think, this is probably a little bit of an egotistical thing, but he wants to trailblaze his own path. He wants to be able to say, I was able to do it at a program that hadn't done it since the 80s. If he goes to LSU, you can make the argument that the talent was always going to be there, and it didn't matter who the coach was. Hell, that's what they're saying about Orgeron already. And if he goes to USC, you could probably still say it was new-ish, but I mean, USC is USC. They're going to get some really good kids. They're going to have talented kids. I think Franklin at this point is really trying to do it where he's at and really kind of go down in the history books.
All right, so you talked a little bit about Pac-12 football, and really the story this weekend is the UCLA-Oregon game. College College game day is coming for the first time in like 4 years. I think the last time was Arizona and UCLA like 4 years ago, and UCLA smacked them up. So my question
They went
is,
out to Washington State, 2 years ago?
yeah, but for UCLA specifically, it's the first time in like 4 years.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So with that, one, does UCLA actually have a chance? Two, is Pac-12 football at 12:30 West Coast time is irrelevant? And three, do you foresee the Pac-12 bouncing back into national relevancy next year?
Okay, so the first question is, UCLA have a chance? I think they do have a chance. I would have felt a lot better about this if my boy Joe Moorhead was not going to be cleared and to be on the sidelines. He had some non-COVID illness these past couple of weeks. He did coach in the Cal game, but he coached in the booth. I believe he's going to be on the sidelines for the first time since he got sick. Remember, he did not coach at all in their loss to Stanford. So having their offensive coordinator back, especially a guy like Joe Moorhead, who single-handedly beat up on the Buckeyes, I think that really hurts UCLA's chances. And I'm not betting against my boy Jomo. It's not happening. But I do think they have a legitimate chance, especially with some of the guys out on the Oregon team. I mean, that obviously gives you a little bit better of a chance. As far as the Pac-12 as a whole, I really think the biggest thing, or there's two things that hurt in the Pac-12. Your location. I mean, it just is what it is.
Yep.
You can't do anything about it. But also the level of coaching and the draw of the coaches. Like, yeah, you have Chip Kelly and Mario Cristobal's done a fantastic job. But USC can't get their shit together. And by the way, I don't think Clay Helton is the right fit, but I really think the next person who takes that job has to consider what the hell is going on in the administration, because that seems to be more of an issue than anything else. I don't know if anybody would want to walk in there right now and not have like a bunch of questions on how the entire thing is being run, because that seems like that's the bigger issue than the actual coach. But until they find and are able to really hold on to coaches, because you can make the argument that Mario Cristobal, if the Florida job opens up, will leave in a heartbeat to go down there and take that over. So how do they keep coaches there? How do they keep kids from wanting to stay on the West Coast? And like I said, right now, people in California, if they're not going to Oregon, they're not going to stay really on the West Coast if they're coveted. So they've got to find ways to keep kids, and I think that starts with their coaches. So if they figure that out, I think they have a chance. But when you got freaking anti-vaxxers in the northern part of the conference, it doesn't really help things.
Rolovich.
So, they got a lot of shit they got to figure out. I mean, don't get me started on that dumbass. It's I'm already started. There's one thing, and I said this in my podcast this week. Actually, it's one thing to say you're not going to get the vaccine. Like, I think you're an idiot personally, but whatever. Don't get the vaccine. You can be a dumbass, but at least explain why. Yeah. And the lack of explanation, the lack of not talking about it. You can say a lot of things about Mike Leach and how he can be a dumbass too, but at least Mike Leach will tell you how he feels and explain why he feels that way. Rolovich didn't say shit and then claimed a Catholic religious exemption. I'm Catholic, boy. The only thing I feel that I shouldn't be doing or feel like is getting me sick is having to go to a Catholic mass every Sunday. I mean, nothing is more boring than a Catholic mass. And I promise you, and I know the Pope don't give a rat's ass if you get vaccinated or not. So don't even get me started on that shit.
I feel it. Because as far as, and he's suing the school now, and it's like, dude, it was a state mandate. Like, the AD wasn't after you personally. It's a state mandate. There's he was making, I think he was like the highest paid public official in the state of Washington. He's making like $3 million or something like that. Like, he's making an absurd amount of money, and it's like,
it's embarrassing. And you know what hurts me more is, like, look, he will probably be fine. Like, he will be able to find ways. I'm sure there's a bunch of talk shows and sports shows out there that now will fit his narrative well, and he'll probably be able to make enough money. But there are recruiting assistants, GAs, other guys that maybe that was their first or second job that don't have a lot to put on the resume. I'm just kind of banking on him to maybe follow his coattails for a little bit in order to get up the coaching ranks. And their career paths are completely snipped off, all because of the selfishness of one person. So it's just from that standpoint, it's like just be. If you don't even want to be bigger and a decent person because of the vaccine, like what about all the people below you that are not only looking up to you but are kind of depending on you? So it was a disgusting situation all the way around.
Yeah, because in his case, it was him or a couple other assistants, and this is why because I talked about this a couple years ago, how he's fake, because when he was pretty much telling kids who were like, oh, I got to sit out for COVID, I have family who might be sick, like I'm going to take the year off. He's like, oh, well, you don't need to be on scholarship then. You don't need to be on this team if you're going to take the year off and sit out. So it's like you were penalizing players. Like that's why one receiver, he ended up going into the draft. He plays, I forget his name, but he plays receiver for the Colts right now. Guys had to just forego their eligibility and go to the league, and some of them didn't get drafted because of how he treated his players. And now he's fired and he wants to cry wolf. Like it's really shitty when coaches do that.
It is. And don't forget, he had an awful tone-deaf response to the entire George Floyd thing, too. So, I mean, there are plenty of things to kind of stack up against Nick Rolovich. And it's honestly, look, it sucks right now for Washington State, but in the long run, I think it's a lot better for them. I mean, it wasn't just one thing, and it's pretty clear kind of where his character was at. So, in my opinion, and I feel like in the opinion of most decent people, it's better to move on from that.
Yeah, because, I mean, they were on a 3-game win streak. Now look at them.
All right, man. So you want to let people know what you got coming up, where they can find you, all that good stuff?
Yeah, guys. I mean, get me all fired up here every time I come on here. But, no, I appreciate y'all having me come on here. And hope you guys are doing well out there. We're at the chat soon. Hardcore PSU football. On pretty much everything, focusing more and more on Penn State football, mostly because I don't have as much time as I'd like to talk about everything. And you guys do such a good job on the West Coast. I feel you guys can just handle it for the most part. So I just let you guys take care of that, and I'll focus in a little bit more on Penn State football. So you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on pretty much every other social media. Same everything else as far as podcasts and stuff. If you're already following it, it already switched over for you. So I'm going to be focusing more on YouTube. So the YouTube live shows are going to be happening a lot more. That's kind of the direction I'm going. So if you guys want to see this pretty face and not just the pretty voice, head over there. Appreciate you guys.
All right, man. Sounds good. Stay safe, and thank you again.
Salute.
Hey, you guys have a fantastic weekend. All right, guys?
You
Likewise.
Too, Peace.
Desmond Patton was the receiver's name.
Appreciate it. I can sleep better tonight then.
Shout out to Cory and the Hardcore PSU podcast. He almost fumbled on his own podcast name.
He was like, oh shit, wait a minute.
He was like, Hardcore PSU?
For the podcaster formerly known as Hardcore College Football.
Shout out to Cory, man.
Feed the algorithms into the new, catchphrases. But I mean, yeah, it's dope. Should I just finish off the rest of college football?
Sure.
All right. So, Appalachian State upset Coastal Carolina. They were ranked 14th in the country. The Chanticleers. I still don't know what the hell that is.
Chanticleer. It sounds like a Pokemon.
Sounds like a bootleg chandelier, but it's probably like it's one of those. It sounds like a DIY item that you would put in your house that like helps the feng shui. So they lost Appalachian State, who's unranked. They've been killed in the Sun Belt since they went D1, and this is the second ranked opponent they've beaten since 2007 when they beat Michigan at the Big House. That's the last time they beat a ranked AP opponent. So, yeah, Appalachian State is a great destination, man. And they've been putting cats in the league since before when they were like just 1AA. So, Coastal Carolina apparently is here to stay. And shout out to Chase Bryce, who brought up an old tweet saying, imagine transferring down to Myrtle Beach to go to a school where you might win a starting job, if you win a starting job, just to lose. So, yeah, people kept receipts, and Appalachian State is a threat to beat a ranked team. They're D1 they're D1 talent for a reason. So salute to them. Not only is UCLA, I was thinking about going to that game this weekend, but I'm like, nah, work. I gotta save up for some other events coming up. But yeah, USC Notre Dame.
That's still a thing?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that.
That's still a thing.
Battle for the Shillelagh. I mean, I'm already gonna make my bold prediction that USC is gonna find a way to win a really shitty and just poorly technician game, or they're not going to be able to stop the run at all and then lose by like 30. It's going to be either or. Either Notre Dame's going to blow them out or USC's going to win close, but USC's not blowing Notre Dame out. I just don't believe it. Kyle Hamilton's nice at safety. Probably the only thing Notre Dame really produces elite at this point for defensive backs are free safeties. So, you know, they can't produce corners.
There's T.J. McDonald's in the league.
T.J. McDonald went to USC.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said USC free safeties are elite.
Nah, I said Notre Dame only produces like elite free safeties, and their corners are all trash.
Good receivers. Okay receivers. Solid receivers.
Draftable receivers.
B- receivers.
Washington State, I mean, puts out more receivers, if we're being honest. Boise State. No, I'm just kidding. USC, though. But yeah, like Drake London, who everybody's saying he's going to win the Biletnikoff, which honestly, USC is just stuffing stats, if we're being honest. Drake London, yeah, depending on his 40 time.
All right.
He could or he couldn't. Like, with USC receivers and the way that they run this run and gun system, it's like, yeah, it's built up for guys to get a lot of catches. And yeah, he has great ball skills and he attacks it. But he's just like most USC receivers. They're possession guys, not burners, may have some injury problems, and most of them are light-skinned. And I mean light-skinned in the sense that, like, I mean, Robert Woods is the standard for USC receivers. Let's be honest. Keyshawn
was he better than Marquise Lee?
Yes, he was.
Out of Sarah,
he was better than him coming out of Sarah. Marquise Lee could have been a safety. Marquise Lee was the number one athlete.
Shout out to George Foreman.
Bust, ultimate bust. We already there's bad jokes.
Wasn't George Foreman better than both of them?
No, he was projected because he was 6'2" and ran a 4.4. But as a freshman, they said, "Oh, he ran a 4.2 laser times," and I'm like, George Farmer did not. I know people who played with him personally.
There was a whole laser gate from like 2006,
especially for Sarah, because their track team was stupid fast. But they were like, "Yeah, he ran a 4.25 or some shit." I'm like, he did not run a 4.2. Nothing about his game tape shows 4.2. He just ran a 4.4 in Gardena and was faster than everybody around him. That's why he didn't work out at USC. He kept getting hurt. Wasn't a polished receiver. He was just an athlete. Like, Marquise Lee was the number one athlete in the country because they didn't know if he was going to play receiver or corner. And he worked his way into
play corner.
He worked his way into playing receiver.
USC probably would have ruined that.
They would have ruined him, yeah. They sent a lot of guys from receiver and running back to corner, so that happens. But he earned his spot at receiver. Woods was like the number one receiver in the country, damn near. Number one receiver in California, at least. So Woods is like the standard.
Where do corners go to die more? USC
or UCLA?
Detroit? Or where else? Seattle?
Hawaii?
All right, so we got some stuff we got to talk about.
Let's talk about it. Why is this rundown dead ass naked?
I didn't do anything.
All right, that's the wrong rundown. That's why. Oh, Coach Orgeron, bro. He divorced his wife. Apparently, he was having an affair.
I hate when you do that, bro.
He was having an affair, bro. He was.
Just moved on from college football.
This is bigger than college football, bro.
This is an elite segment.
Coach. No, this. Like, they wanted him gone so badly, bro, that they said, okay, you're done for the end of the year. The players didn't want to play for him anymore. Coaches don't want to coach for him anymore. Like, everybody wants his ass gone.
What happened?
He just turned really toxic. Like, he just self-sabotaged himself as usual. He got big-headed after that championship reign. He literally, like, his side pieces' kids were at football practice, like, fucking up drills. His side pieces, the children of his many side pieces. And then he apparently tried to fuck an assistant coach's wife or fiance, whatever it was. He was home wrecking. He was doing some Louisiana politicking. Trying to show somebody his 11 herbs and spices.
You were sitting on that one.
You were sitting on some gumbo for your ass, I'll tell you that much. That's some nasty Southern shit right there. Like, bro, you shouldn't even be trying to do
He's
that.
He's going to end up in Washington State.
As an assistant coach, as a D-line coach. He'll be toxic somewhere and then he'll have to go to like a fucking... He'll have to
somewhere where they don't have a fucking airport.
He'll have to go to like a Sunbelt school, honestly. I remember when Mike Hayward like got accused of abusing his wife.
Vanderbilt coach?
No, that white dude's still there. I remember, and nobody talks about this because people just don't remember it. Mike Haywood, he was a coach at Miami of Ohio. He had a record season with them, and I think he had got the job at Pittsburgh. It might have been Pittsburgh. And he got accused of beating his wife, but it turns out his wife lied and was beating his ass. And not only did his career get ruined, you've never heard from him again. And that was almost 10 years ago. Google Mike Haywood. I think it's Mike Haywood. Is a black dude. Miami of Ohio. Career got ruined. Ed Ogeron was doing all this wild, nasty shit at LSU in plain sight. And the culture got deteriorated. People stopped, just nobody was held accountable. All his best players are injured. They might as well go into the draft. And now LSU's a prime coaching gig. So, yeah, it's just pure nastiness on the part of Ed Ogeron, and he's probably done in coaching. Unless he just goes like to a Sun Belt school. Also, lastly, the American Alliance Conference. I don't know why I said AAU Conference.
Why are we talking about the American Conference?
Because remember we talked about that power vacuum with Cincinnati leaving the American Conference and going to the Big 12? Mm-hmm. Well, they added 6 teams, and they took them all from Conference USA.
And like 3 of those teams didn't even have a football team like 5 years ago.
Charlotte.
UTSA, I think that's a new program too.
UTSA, yeah, UAB, North Texas, Rice, and Florida Atlantic.
North Texas was a DAA, 1AA for a while, I think.
But they were a Sunbelt school for a minute. North Texas, Mean Green, they were a Sunbelt school for a minute. Florida Atlantic has been Sunbelt for a minute. But they've.
I low-key like North Texas uniforms.
Yeah, they're cool. I remember when they would get a 5-star prospect I wanted. I was like, why the fuck he doesn't
going to North Texas?
Like, bro, you don't even need fuck. And the QB had 90 speed or some shit. You're like, man, I would have redshirted him for a year. It'd have been perfect. But whatever. So do you think Notre Dame who do you think's going to win this game?
Oh my God, bro, we're moving on from college football.
I just want to know who you think's going to win.
We have a whole full ass rundown.
No, I'm done with college football.
I already told you I don't care about USC and Notre Dame.
Wow, says the Notre Dame fan. Remember that. So if they lose, I don't want to hear you say shit in the group chat.
Oh, I'm still going to talk shit just because I can.
See?
But I just don't care. I mean, that's pretty much what Cory was saying is the Pac-12 is irrelevant as long as USC is irrelevant. Notre Dame and USC is pretty much irrelevant as long as USC is irrelevant.
Because Notre Dame is just punching down. Or is Notre Dame irrelevant? Notre Dame is pretty much irrelevant.
Kind of irrelevant. They're irrelevant adjacent.
They got clapped by Cincinnati, so they're irrelevant.
They still have to be on TV. All right, so moving on to shit that we actually want to talk about.
Thursday Night Football, the Broncos and the Bengals. I mean, the Broncos. And
I don't want to talk about that. I was going to skip that.
The Broncos and the Browns.
I don't even know who won.
I'll check right now.
I want to know who had more stretchers. That's what I want to know.
Who had more injury concerns?
You only talking about it because Case Keenum's fucking playing, bro. When's the last time you had a Thursday Night Football at the top
Cleveland
of the
won 17.
Wait, hold up. Let's answer that question. When was the last time you had a Thursday Night Football at the top of the fucking rundown?
Last week, adjacent.
We didn't talk about Tampa Bay and Philly at all once.
We did a little bit.
No, we didn't, bro. We didn't talk about that shit at all. We never talk about Thursday Night Football.
We briefly mentioned it. Just letting y'all know if you didn't know.
You just want to talk about the return to Case Keenum. I
don't give a fuck about Case Keenum. I don't give a fuck about Houston quarterbacks. I don't give a fuck about Houston quarterbacks. I don't give a fuck about Houston quarterbacks. Bro, I used to love to beat the shit out of Houston when they were like highly ranked in NCAA and steal all their recruits. Oh, man. Even though Houston should be a Big 12 team, but that's a whole other issue. Like, the American line. No. They're much better players. Shout out to William Jackson.
Shout out to Isaiah Johnson.
Shout out to Willie Jackson III, first round pick, who went to the Bengals and now plays for the WTFs. He's actually a good corner out of Houston. And it's rare that I would even say something like that because I don't give Houston props.
All right. Other news from the week: the NFL agrees to race-based brain testing in a $1 billion settlement. That's the GFE.
I figured you'd figure it out.
Yeah, This motherfucker was over here trying to be Grammarly /AP style, and then he over here
omitting words AP style.
Omitting words and totally flipping the context of the story.
Did I not put the link I put the link there for you to click on.
I'm just saying, you forgot the most crucial word. Out of all the words you could have omitted, you forgot the most important.
I had to see if you were paying attention. And you kind of weren't.
Anyways.
You didn't click the link. But, so they're going to stop being racist and assume that, black people are initially stupider, so their brain function and intelligence is already lower. Going into brain studies and realize, hey, maybe we should, not use the trauma that black people have been through against them when they're trying to get their concussion settlements, because that's racist as fuck.
Well, not just that, but everything's pretty racist. Science too.
Literally,
science is literally racist
and sexist as fuck, but definitely racist more than sexist because the things they did to black women's uteruses. By the way, fun fact: black women get more hysterectomies than anybody. You know who gets more womb transplants than anybody? You want to guess? Who gets the most womb transplants in the world?
Who?
White women.
Yeah, because they have more money.
Yep, and you know whose wombs they're getting? Black women who
are probably a little bit more, intertwined.
Black women who are getting hysterectomies who actually don't need them, because black women get the worst health care out of any woman on planet Earth. Fact.
Out of any people on planet Earth.
No, black men don't even bother. Black men don't even bother going to the doctor, because we know they're gonna lie to us and kill us.
I don't know about that.
No, it's a fact. Black people get the shittiest health care.
Yeah, black women get the worst.
Okay, I'm not playing gender politics because
you kind of already did. Just by
I led with black women.
No, just by the language you use, you were playing gender politics.
You definitely were. Race wise, black people as a whole. But when you break it down deeper, you can't have black men without fucking black women getting.
But men in general don't go to the doctor.
Yes.
Older men in general, because they don't want to get their prostate checked.
Young men too, because we think we're fearless, and then our knee starts hurting around 25, and then it's like fuck. But yeah. So the whole medical study thing, and that's how I got on that point of black women getting the worst medical treatment, which hurts their children, both male and female. So yeah. I guess they're going to pat themselves on the back for doing this. Yay, we're not being as racist. So all those black dudes are in the Hall of Fame who should have been getting medical care and treatment. They're not going to get it. They're going to die old, hurt, angry, and broke. But, $1 billion to spread across, what, hundreds of thousands of people? $1 billion? You think $1 billion's enough? Like, Jeff Bezos could lose $1 billion and be laughing at people. That's how much money he's worth. He could lose $1 billion and act like he dropped a quarter in a haystack.
All right, other news of the week. Cowboys starting safety DeMonte Kazee, I probably said that wrong, was arrested for suspicion of DWI. He was released on bond. I don't know, man. Seems like the Cowboys, even when it seems like they finally are starting to get their defense in order.
Is it not a Cowboys team if there's not the occasional DUI?
True.
Like, I don't even report on DUIs anymore. Like, I literally don't report on DUI. When's the last time you seen somebody talk about somebody's DUI? Except for when Melvin Gordon had to go, get that case figured out.
Still happens a lot.
It happens so much that it's like, yeah, a DUI. People do that shit all the time. And they want to sit here and cry, but, when you fucking die in a car accident because you were driving drunk and being stupid, you thought, because the state I'm in, yeah, now they're cracking down on it, especially with weed. And, because we're in Biden's America, especially if you get caught with weed, commercial weed, they just assume your intent to selling. So now they can just give you fucking football numbers let me give you 150 years in jail. That's crazy. People really voted for that. People really said to our faces, you have to vote for Biden. He's the lesser of two evils. And he's the most evil fucking president on record with some of the draconian shit that he's just the crime reform. Oh, yeah. And everybody who thought they were going to get free community college, that shit's done. Oh, don't be at a HBCU because you just lost $45 billion in funding. Oh, yeah. No, $45 million, my bad. Not only that,
Anyways,
country's just fucked up.
Anyways,
it's just bad. Shit's bad.
You can turn into Ozo Grande's Instagram story if you want to hear his political takes.
Nah, not really. I'll just be talking shit and
That's your political stance.
Not really.
Yeah, kind of.
Talking shit is my political stance? Nah.
Yeah, definitely.
Nah, it's not a stance. That's more of a thing.
No, that's your stance. Nah. You literally sit here and talk about politics for 30 minutes and then don't even go to vote.
I actually voted in every election.
The first time.
I just didn't vote for 4 years. I didn't vote for
But then you
president.
be on here talking about
I voted in all the local elections. No, I voted in every local election. You know,
okay.
fucked up. I voted in every election.
Okay.
I just didn't vote for the
even
president.
when you're working on Tuesdays?
Bitch, it's called a mail-in ballot. It's called a mail-in ballot.
Your Honor, he lying.
And there's an elementary school down the street from me.
Anyways, Kazee. Why
are we talking about this story? It's fucking
because he's from the IE, bro.
He went to San Diego State. Ooh.
Yeah.
You just wanted to fucking talk about somebody from the IE in a negative light. Wow.
No, what I was going to say is, what I wanted to talk about was part of the reason why he got popped is because he admitted to it. Never admit to it. Period. That's for your lawyer to deal with.
Legal counsel. That is true. So
don't ever admit to it, because once you do, then you're fucked. That's why they say anything you say can and will be used against you. So if you ever do find yourself in that situation, what you should say is,
shut the fuck up and say nothing.
I would love to do that, officer, but my lawyer would be really upset. Or something along those lines.
I'm going to just wait for my lawyer and your watch commander.
Yeah, and that's how you get your ass beat on the news.
Yep. They're going to beat your ass anyway.
No,
I don't trust a cop to value my life. Sorry. I look at you the way I look at the brown shirts in Europe. At this point. If a cop pulls you over, it's never a good thing. And your taillight's not fucking out. Not everybody's taillight is out.
Well, he got pulled over for not signaling. That's the worst. Mm-hmm. At 3 a.m. not signaling.
And probably an empty fucking street, by the way.
But you didn't want to talk about this, so let's move on.
Because it's going to make me mad. It's going to make me mad. We can talk about fuck the police, because we can say fuck the police, because honestly it's fuck the police. And fuck qualified immunity, but that's all another story. I've never called the cops when I was in trouble because when I did, all I did was get questioned like I was a criminal. So
you also live in the South Bay, where it's like the worst.
The worst cops.
Yeah.
Motherfucking cops got Megazords and shit.
You got the cops that got pushed out of LA.
You got the cops.
You got the cops that got pushed out of South Central. And
No, you got the cops.
Fit right in.
You got the cops that were losers at all the local high schools, so they became cops because they had shit else to do with their lives.
Cops in general.
They went to the military and they were still losers.
That's just cops in general.
They bought a Daewoo and thought it was really cool.
All right, first up, take your tangent. Rumors say the Miami Dolphins are close to completing a trade for Deshaun Watson. Some say they'll keep playing Tua. Well, Watson undergoes his suspension/legal situation. Right now, Watson is technically not suspended. He just doesn't want to play for the Texans. So the league hasn't officially suspended him. But yeah, take your tangent on Deshaun Watson potentially going to the Dolphins this season.
Tua's not the guy. I told y'all Tua wasn't the guy.
You did not say that. Stop it, bro. You did not say that. You did not say that. You did not say that, bro. You did not say that.
Check the archives.
You did not say that.
I was like, Tua's nice, but I mean, he has a bunch of first-round receivers and first-round offensive linemen.
You never said that. This is your first time saying this.
No, it's not.
This is your first time saying this. That's why you're smiling, bro.
It's literally not. Because you don't listen.
I listen to you, bro.
You don't listen to me.
You were high on Tua.
Was I?
You were high on Tua, bro.
Did I give you a lot of ifs and possibilities when I was describing how good he could be? Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If
okay, but this is your first time.
Healthy, he hasn't progressed, and he has happy feet, and he's right-handed.
Oh, this is your first time.
He throws left-handed.
This is your first time walking it back, just so you know.
I'm not walking it back.
Don't make it sound like you've been walking it back for a while. Because this is the first time you ever got on record saying Tua is not the guy.
No, the walk back.
This is the walk back.
The walk back happened 6 months ago.
In fact, you were even talking about it last year about how they were unfairly just trying to get rid of him and not giving him a fair opportunity.
Yeah, and after 4 games? Yeah, he's not the guy. He's not it.
All right.
But he's in the same group as Devontae Parker. Like, yeah, he can play. He can start in the league, but he's just not a difference maker. And if I'm trading, yeah, I'll send Tua to the Washington football team and let him be a great game manager there. If I can get Deshaun, we'll figure out his legal situation the way we figure it out. But if you're committed to a guy, you go get him. It's pretty simple. Yeah, I just think Miami has to purge Tua to get a star at quarterback because they have enough on paper. But like an eroding quarterback play.
The defense plays better than it actually is.
Yeah, but eroding quarterback play will kill a head coach's career. A la the Detroit Lions. Honestly, a la Jared Goff.
Honestly, this is what we've seen from the Dolphins. They make the playoffs one year, the next year they're sorry. Like, this is what we've been seeing. So I don't know why people are surprised. They're what?
Because Tua should be better. He has a tight end who can be a Pro Bowler.
So they're 1-4, right? And they lost to Jacksonville, which is the worst one.
Bears.
But they've also lost to the Colts, smacked up by the Bills. Their one win was against the Patriots.
Fine. We'll keep that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just feel like there's something nasty in Miami to, like, have to go and get Deshaun Watson. Like, are you guys really that desperate? Because what? Even in the best case scenario, figure out the legal situation, you figure out the suspension, and then what?
They want to get Tua the fuck out of there.
You're going to be a 9-8 team?
They want to get Tua the fuck out of there.
But I'm just saying.
They're like Mac Jones is better than Tua.
But I'm just saying, even if you got Deshaun Watson, what is that team?
That's a 10-win team.
10
that's a
9-10 wings?
Which
is what you won last year with
11,
Ryan. That's what you won last year with Ryan Fitzpatrick and Tua splitting the role.
But they peaked at that.
So why?
They're an 11-win team.
What I'm saying is, why sell your soul to still not win a championship, to still probably miss the playoffs, or in the best case scenario, maybe win one playoff game?
Because the Eagles have their first round draft pick and it's going to be high as fuck. So you might as well just trade the asset, the little bit of asset that has value left to get Deshaun Watson and live with the consequences. Because he has been.
I believe the Dolphins have just been overachieving. They overachieved last year.
Their team selling
they're coming
out.
back.
Their team selling out to get who they want. How many quality top 15 QBs are in the league? Only 15, right? So everybody else is below average, right? Just by the standard of that number of 32, 16 are average. There's 16. You have the top 16 and everybody else.
Okay, so just really quick, by division, right? So Deshaun, if he went to the NFC East, he'd be the best quarterback in that division, right?
I mean, the Eagles definitely have the draft capital.
I'm sorry, the AFC East, right? That's where the Dolphins play, or the South.
He's better. He's better.
No,
than
they play
Josh
the
Allen.
East.
They're AFC East.
Okay, Josh Allen. So
He's better than Josh Allen.
they'd be 1A and 1B. All right, whatever.
You could say that.
Okay, so that's one. In the West, if he went to the AFC West,
he's the second best quarterback.
He's better than Herbert and Carr?
Are we talking when he led the league in passing yardage on the bum ass?
I'm talking about if he comes back exactly how we remember him.
And goes to what team to Denver?
Just in general.
He's the second best quarterback in that division.
Okay. So then
Herbert,
if we go to the
Herbert is finally
NFC West, is he better than Kyler and Stafford?
He's better than Stafford because he can match Stafford's.
Is he better than Kyler? Russ.
See, that's tough. That's a QB heavy division. Honestly, those four.
So already he
can either be one or he could be four. Depending on your team.
So already we've named for sure 2 quarterbacks above him, and then another roughly about 5 that you could rank.
Josh
mismatch.
Allen, Russ, Mahomes.
Wait. Let's finish. All right, let's finish. All right. So you go to the East.
Let's say you have 6.
Let's go to the East.
6 guys.
Let's go to the East. Is he better than Dak?
Yes, he's better than Dak.
Okay.
Dak just gets to throw the ball all day and has a much better team.
But I would still put him in that range with Herbert and Carr and all those guys.
If you put Deshaun Watson on the Dallas Cowboys the past 5 years, especially when they had that Hall of Fame offensive line, that's a Super Bowl winning team. Dak went in the 4th round for a reason. Deshaun went in the 1st round for a reason. He's been putting up numbers.
All right, but what I'm saying is...
his on-the-field play was never an excuse.
What I'm saying is, though, if you had to pick them, you would take Deshaun.
I'm taking Deshaun every day over Dak.
But it's not that
He's
far.
more athletic, and he has a better arm talent. He's a better quarterback.
I mean, Dak's probably put up as good of numbers as he has without even looking at it.
If you take Dak and put him on the Houston Texans as a rookie...
yeah, he's not doing shit.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, what the fuck
and who else?
Hopkins is a lot.
He was
Hopkins was a lot.
No, you got to remember, Dak was very underdeveloped as a passer.
Yeah, 100%.
Coming out of college.
Yeah, 100%.
They were trying to call him the Black Tebow when he was better. He's a better passer than Tebow ever could be.
All right. So what division? So we did the South. We did the East. We
AFC
did
West.
the West. So the AFC North. He's not better than Lamar.
He's definitely not better than Lamar.
But he's better than everyone else.
He's better than everyone else.
Burrow's not that far off.
Burrow's close, but he ain't there yet.
Yeah, he's not there yet. All right.
He's on a Matthew Stafford throwing for 5,000 yards.
Okay, so in the South, he'd be the best quarterback in the South. For sure.
He could outduel Brady at this stage of his career.
And then, so we did the South, we did the East, we did the West. The North, so he'd be under Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, that's it.
So basically, he's in that 7 to 15 range.
7 to 12.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He's a top 12 QB, even after missing all his time. Because the fact that he had the Texans in games when their defense was ass and all he had was DeAndre Hopkins and Will Fuller every 3 to 4 games. Come on. Let's be honest. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. Shout out to Tink. Or Dej Law. I think that, whatever her name was. But, like, let's be honest. Let's be real. Like, Deshaun Watson is not a scrub. He was not a scrub before he got hurt. If these allegations never came out and it was the normal season, he's a top 8 quarterback. Arguably top 5. Arguably top 5. Last season, when you lead the league in passing yardage, and what he did on an ass team with no run game and a shitty offensive line, he played like a top 5 QB. And if you put him on the New Orleans Saints, Super Bowl winning team. You put him on the Cowboys, Super Bowl winning team. You put him on any team, hell, you can put him on Tampa Bay. That's a title contender.
All right, moving on. Zach Ertz officially joined the Arizona Cardinals this week after being traded from the Eagles. You got to take her tangent on Ertz with the Cardinals.
Perfect marriage for both. Because whatever he has left, he's going to give it. He'll take some pressure off Hop and AJ Green and Christian Kirk. Because, you know,
championship experience.
He'll be able to control the middle of the field. So teams just can't blitz Kyler Murray all day. Like, they have to cover a tight end. You're not just going to be able to send a linebacker on a dog call. Like, you got to actually defend the whole field now. And most importantly, they lost Max Williams for the whole year. He tore his ACL, I think. So they needed a tight end, and it's perfect. And it's crazy because J.J. Watt's wife or fiance and his wife both play soccer together. Like, they're professional soccer athletes.
That's dope.
So, cool.
It's a little gem for you.
Cool double date.
All right. Dan Campbell critiqued Jared Goff. Goff is making a return to L.A. this weekend as the Lions take on the Rams. Take her tangent.
I'm just worried about DeAndre Swift because I don't know if I should start him because he might get garbage touchdowns or just bench him and not even worry about it. Like,
I just think it's funny how we went from we're going to bite people's elbows off to already scapegoating the quarterback.
That has a fat-ass contract. But he's right. That's what, like, he can say that because he played in the league. He's been a backup player. He's seen Matthew Stafford. He knows what an elite quarterback looks like, and he knows that Jared Goff ain't it. But you also shouldn't isolate him when your offensive line is hurt. Your receivers aren't doing that much. Like, but it's the elephant in the room. Our quarterback needs to fucking put his nuts on the table. And he's just along for the ride instead of leading the ship. And we need him to make plays, which he's shown he can do. He did it in that Chiefs game.
We've already been through this. We already know what a team is like when Jared Goff is your best player. CC Jeff Fisher's Rams. Like,
that's disrespectful.
I'm just saying, like, Jared Goff was never going to get you over the hump.
Jared Goff
he was just going to be
Volek.
He was just going to be a game manager, but he doesn't have the same level of weapons in Detroit. He doesn't have the same level of a defense. So if he was already shipped out of LA because they were limited by him, they couldn't get over the hump again with him, he didn't take that next step. You know, I think me and a lot of people thought, okay, maybe the trade would wake him up, but at some point, a player is who they are, and like you said, it's not his fault, but it's not his fault that he got that contract. He earned that contract. He went to a Super Bowl in his rookie year. Like, the contract he earned.
He didn't go to a Super Bowl in his rookie year.
I mean, his rookie contract. In his rookie contract, he went to a Super Bowl. He earned that contract. The problem isn't the contract. The problem is the team. The problem is the reason why they traded Stafford away was not for Jared Goff. It was for those two first-round picks. It was for those 2 first-round picks and to get rid of Matthew Stafford. Like, so to act like you got bait and switched, bro, you knew what you were getting.
You did not get hoodwinked.
And it's your job as a coach to adapt, to know what's in the pantry and what you can cook up and what you can't cook up. So if all you see in your pantry is some spaghetti sauce and a fucking Ritz cracker, don't try to tell me that we need to somehow make it into a filet mignon. Like, it's not going to happen, bro.
Shout out to Bengals offensive lineman Jackson Carman for getting sick and throwing up on the field when they played Detroit. And he said, I wouldn't suggest going to Mom's Spaghetti, which is Eminem's restaurant. He got sick from eating Mom's Spaghetti.
That's funny. All right.
And A.J. Brown got food poisoning from Chipotle.
That was a good damn. Maybe we need to start with college football every week. Got better jokes this week.
I always have great jokes. It depends on how you place them and how you get them.
All right.
Did Golden State just win?
Yeah.
Aww.
Petty person of the week, Stephon Diggs. Basically, well, him and DK Metcalf can share it, but Stephon Diggs, man, after all the flack that we've given Alabama corners for decades, really.
Trayvon Diggs, you mean?
Yeah. But Stephon Diggs was the one who was like, if anything, I got the playbook on you. And was like, yeah, if we go one-on-one, I'm going to beat you. So
7 interceptions.
You gotta take her a tangent on Trayvon Diggs versus Stephon Diggs.
The little brother always got more to prove.
That's what I'm saying. Why you gotta hate on him though?
I mean,
this man's finally
Stephon Diggs was a 5-star recruit, a 5-star receiver. He could have went anywhere. He went to Maryland. Trayvon Diggs was a receiver who had to transition to corner.
They had 7 first-round receivers.
It's 7 first-round corners. And DB's like, fam, you're not going to make it at receiver, so we're just going to put you at corner. And he has the ball skills to be elite. And what, he was a second-round pick?
Yeah, and he's leading the league in interceptions by a lot.
7 picks in like 6 games.
Shout out to Delta O'Neal. 10 picks.
Salute to Delta
in 1 year.
Yeah, I think he did it twice.
But, yeah, so, I mean, I just think it's kind of petty because Stephon Diggs, you're already a household name. You're already the best receiver in the league. One of the best receivers in the league.
Stephon Diggs was also a 5th-round pick.
Like,
don't forget that.
I think it's
Raiders passed on him.
I think it's just kind of cold, though, to go after your younger brother like that.
I mean,
you're already a bigger name. You've already had more success. You got a bigger contract. This dude's really just kind of breaking out in the scene. It's like,
that's just brotherly love, though. Like, if your brother stepped to you on some football shit, you're not gonna be like, dog, I'll mix you.
I didn't hear Lonzo tell LaMelo that last year. I'll mix you
because Lonzo knows LaMelo's nicer than him. You saw that fucking outfit he wore. You can't wear an outfit like that and not hoop on dudes. Drop 31 and 9 and what 8? Come on.
All right, so who you got? You taking Stephon? It sounds like
I'm taking the young DB.
Wow, plot twist.
Stephon's had a slow start. Trayvon, his athleticism is finally catching up to all the work he's put in. And if he stays healthy, Dallas could be a Super Bowl contender. But if he goes down, they're fucked.
All right, speaking of DBs, last week it was reported Marcus Maye was on the trade block. This week he says he's open to staying with the Jets long term. He's playing on the franchise tag right now. So take your tangent on Marcus Maye staying with the Jets.
The one DB out of Florida who made it.
I thought he was out of Utah for some reason.
Zoom chat. Ooh. Nah, that would be your boy out of St. Louis, Marcus Williams. Shout out to the IE.
Right.
But Marcus Maye, C.J. Henderson, all them cats played at Florida together. Chauncey Gardner, whatever his last name is, I always forget it. So when you look at Marcus Maye, right, he was so good that they were willing to get rid of Jamal Adams, who's pretty much just a glorified linebacker at this point.
Did you see that meme where it was Jamal Adams and Trayvon Diggs walking together?
Yep.
He was like, wait, you're telling me when the offense throws the ball, you can actually catch it?
Yeah, hilarious.
That was cool.
For a safety having 9.5 sacks, it's like, bro, you can't cover or you're so aggressive you don't want to cover. Which is it? Because you went to LSU. Like, we know you can play. But, I mean, yeah. The Jets can't keep screwing this up, so they got to retain somebody. Leonard Williams, Muhammad Wilkerson, Think about all the talent they let leave. Sheldon Richardson. Think about all the talent they let leave that building.
All right. Malcolm Jenkins is a minority investor in a Premier League club. Take your tangent on that.
Good for him.
That's all?
I really didn't give a shit. I don't know why you brought up soccer on this podcast. On this program.
Because it's
You brought up soccer. You hate
because
soccer.
it's a black player buying his way into ownership.
I mean, Serena Williams owned part
Into
of the
a-
Dolphins.
into
Serena
a-
Williams owned part of the Dolphins, and how did that work out?
Into something that we wouldn't expect.
I think Usher bought part of the Cleveland Browns. How'd that go?
You also like to drag Malcolm Jenkins every other time he's brought up
Which is what I'm kind of doing right now.
by not dragging him.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Fair enough. All right, and last one, man. This is one I've been wanting to talk to you about all week. We haven't really talked about it off air.
Young Thug's album,
Close.
Thugger.
DK fucking Metcalf.
Shit, and fall back in it.
Take her tangent on him and Shannon Sharp going back and forth in the Twitter beef this past week.
Can't no man who got a head shaped like the ice cream. Remember the ice cream cone, the blue, white, and yellow one?
Yeah.
Can't nobody who has a
Fucking
head
snow cone?
shaped like an ice cream snow cone.
Not even like a real snow cone.
Off
An
the ice
adjacent
cream-
snow cone. A
off
snow
the-
cone adjacent.
Off the ice cream truck that sells chili Fritos and crack after 9 o'clock. You can't sit up here and talk shit to a Hall of Fame tight end. Because your dad probably said, hey, you might not want to respect him. You might not want to disrespect him, bro. You might want to go look at his numbers. Like, he was you before you, technically. Like, if you were in his time period, your ass ain't playing receiver. You're playing tight end, bro. Especially,
And you actually have to block.
shout out to
and
him.
actually run routes.
Shout out to Obi because he liked the tweet on Twitter that I said. I was like, especially with his lateral agility at the combine, your ass is a tight end. Calm down. 96 speed, fucking 97 acceleration, 78 agility. He's gotten better, but still, his agility is mid. His agility is Reggie, and not Reggie Bush.
It just cracks me up.
More like Reggie Williams out of Washington, who was a bust for the Jaguars with 9th overall.
It just cracks me up every time like we get into this situation of like
Ah, shit, did it happen again?
of like old head versus new head, like whether it's in hip hop, whether it's in NBA, whether it's in the NFL, and
He lost horribly, though.
yeah,
He didn't even make good points.
yeah,
It
that's
wasn't
what I was
even
gonna
like
say,
a sentient conversation.
and that's what I was gonna say, and not just that, but right now, bro, your quarterback is Geno Smith. You're playing in one of the toughest divisions in the league.
And you didn't go out of bounds.
And you lost my fantasy undefeated streak with that fumble. I lost by 0.3 points. Thanks to DK Metcalf's fumble on that last play.
I won by 0.48 in that bitch.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. I just think it's funny anytime we get these generational beefs, but especially when
He cleared it up and apologized, though.
yeah, because he got owned.
Because he knew he was wrong. It's
But
like,
that's what I was gonna say. Is like that. It's just funny to me when the young heads lose at their own game.
yeah.
Like your own troll, social media shit. You're losing to an old man, bro.
You should ask that man for some route running tips.
All right.
And switch to a number in the 80s.
Nah, I think forcing works for him.
I don't get why all these receivers started doing that shit, bro. It's ugly. I wouldn't wear a number in the teens below 17. 17, 18, 19, and then straight to the 80s.
I'm not wearing 18. 18 is an ugly number.
18 is cold as fuck. What are you talking about? AJ Green was nice in his prime. I mean, not Hall of Fame nice, but nice.
Shout out to Roddy White.
84.
All right. Touchdown or turnover. The Raiders had the most black players in the NFL. Then John Gruden took over, according to 538. I always mess up their name.
That was a really interesting story. Yeah. I've been beating that drum for a while. Told y'all Gruden wasn't shit. The racist overtones were there. Undertones, I mean, when you go from having an all-black offensive line that had like 3 or 4 Pro Bowlers on it to just destroying the offensive line, and now everybody on the line is trash, and the whole offensive line is pretty much white, that says something to me. When you don't develop Brandon Parker, that says something to me. When you have all these guys, you have all these adjectives for white players, and then for black players, it's always a criticism. I noticed that. The same way when Mexican boxers always talk shit about black boxers and say, "Oh, they're running." No, you don't have the intellectual capabilities or the athleticism to cut off the ring from a dude who's faster than you. The fuck? Like, don't say he's a runner. Say you don't know how to fucking box because a dude who's faster than you and has better.
I mean, that's just different. That's different fight styles.
Nah, but like a lot of Mexican boxers use that trope.
Yeah, because their fight styles, they're brawlers.
But they only use it towards black guys. They don't say that about Triple G.
But Canelo's a pure boxer. He's not a brawler.
Canelo said that shit about Mayweather, remember?
And that's
he couldn't fucking touch Mayweather for 12 rounds. Couldn't touch him.
Canelo's a boxer. He has the
who also cheats.
He has the athleticism
who
and
also cheats
and the skill that you're talking about.
Yeah, but he's ducking the Charlo brothers. You and I both know it.
All right, man. So
a lot of ducking in boxing is happening, and it's just kind of nasty.
I mean, that's been boxing. What do you think is going to happen now in college football when everything's going to be fucking segmented?
There's still hope for the PS3. That's all I'm saying. That might be the Pac-12's only hope because right now, your conference is pussy. Your conference is fucking melted strudel in the Arizona desert.
But yeah, as far as the Gruden situation, we made jokes about it a long time ago when it first started happening. When Michael Crabtree got cut for Jordy Nelson, when we let go of Jared Cook and signed Jason Witten, when we brought on
Hunter Renfrow and said
Jeff Heath and let Carl Joseph walk.
And passed on some safeties, really good safeties.
So yeah, we've been talking about it. We've made a lot of jokes about it, but I don't know, man. There's something definitely in the water because one, I think the thing is, and for better or worse, the point that I don't know if we're at there yet, but we're getting closer to it in terms of like, hey, who gave Gruden power?
White people that he's cool with.
And that's part of the issue too, and that's why, as much credit as Mark Davis deserves for failing forward into the Vegas stadium and finally getting the Raiders a home, like, he not ducking. He doesn't deserve a pass on this whole Gruden situation either because, yeah, that's his friend.
That's your guy.
But you also gave him unnecessary amount of power and money compared to anybody else in the league, really, and there was really no reason for it.
And if the emails never come out, he's the unquestioned coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. If those emails never come out, Davis ain't saying shit. He cool.
And moreover, there's something happening in the organization because, I mean, it's easy to just say it's part of the move and, people helped the transition and now they're transitioning to their own things and whatever, but when you have 3 vice presidents resign before the season and now this Gruden situation, like, don't forget when Gruden fired the D-line coach a couple of years ago, who was actually
Winston Buckner, who was a good NFL player.
He actually developed
Max Crosby,
and that was Cleveland Farrell's best year. So
all I'm saying is Max Crosby ain't had 10.5 sacks since.
And who did they bring in for Buckner?
Old white dude. Was it Rob Marinelli?
Yep.
Yeah, how'd that work? They can't stop the run. I mean, they got Solomon Thomas was a good pickup. He could be a long-time resurgent piece, but it's really how you use him. He's a D tackle. He's not a D end. All those linebackers they brought in, what's his face? Paul Gunther. Resident yes man.
All right, next up, we got Marlon Mack trade rumors. There's rumors about him going to the Chiefs, Niners, etc. Basically, any team that doesn't have a running back. So, touchdown or turnover? Does Mack still deserve to be a starter? Or
Hell yeah, he's still a viable player. It's just they have Jonathan Taylor, so they don't need him now. Mack was like a 4th round pick or a later round pick who had a couple 1,000-yard seasons. Proved to be pretty good.
Frank Gore's spot.
He proved to be pretty good, so now he's a valuable chess piece that they're going to move because he's pretty much, I think, healed from his past injuries. I just hope they trade him and don't hold on to him, you know.
I think he's in a contract year, too. I think that's why they're trying to trade him before he just dips out.
Hopefully they trade him somewhere, you know, good where you can play. I mean, they're not going to trade him to Buffalo because they need running back up because they don't really have the juice like that with Singletary and Moss, but Mack can proved he can be a home run hitter at times.
Marcellus Whitney signed with the Green Bay Packers.
Whitney Merciless,
my bad. I don't know what I said.
You said Marcellus Whitney.
Yeah.
You think of Marcellus Wiley when you see his name.
Yeah, who also played for the Texans.
Really? He did?
I thought he did. Wasn't he in the expansion draft?
The Chargers, the Bills, the Jaguars.
Oh, yeah, it was the Jaguars. My bad.
And the Cowboys.
Yeah, you're right. All right, so Whitney joins the Green Bay Packers. Merciless joins the Green Bay Packers.
One of the few Illinois defensive edge rushers who panned out.
I didn't know he'd been in the league 10 years already.
Yeah, he went to Illinois. He led the country with like 16 sacks and then went pro.
I just didn't realize it had already been 10 years since he's been in the league.
He really can play defensive end in a 4-3 base and 3-4 outside linebacker.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect spot for him.
Literally.
Honestly.
Hopefully Green Bay gets a ring because, man, it'd be depressing if they don't. Aaron Rodgers, all those great numbers, all that great play, all that effort, and he only got one chip to show for it. And it's the year we graduated high school.
Von Miller is reportedly staying with the Denver Broncos. They're not going to trade him for picks. He had an MRI on his ankle. There's no serious damage, so he should be able to keep playing. Touchdown or turnover, Von Miller staying with the Broncos.
Turnover. If you really got love for a player like that, man, let him go chase a ring somewhere else and just get value back from the draft picks because this is not a playoff team. This ain't a Super Bowl team. How many years do you think Von Miller got left at this elite level of play?
Where would you send him?
Somewhere in the NFC.
I know it would never happen.
You can't send him to somewhere in the AFC. That's stupid.
I know it would never happen. But it would. I think it'd be dope if he went to the Chargers.
I mean, yeah, for the sake of them having depth. But that can never happen.
Yeah, that would never happen.
Washington would be perfect for him. They don't really have a QB, so
it'd be
there's a good chance they won't make the playoffs. And you don't want to send them to the Giants. That's just disrespectful. The Vikings, maybe? The Bears, even?
Nah.
Mack and Miller?
I don't know. It's just like it's hard because pass rushers are like you can never have enough of them, but there's also not a lot of good ones. And then the ones that are good are either old or hurt or just by themselves, so they get double teamed. The Rams would be perfect. I'd probably quit watching football.
You're not going to help them.
Yeah, I'd quit watching football. Okay.
You quit watching if you get traded? Like, it's cheating.
Yeah, bro. Like, come on, stop it.
Von Miller, you don't have the cap space. You know you don't have the cap space. Fuck.
All right. And lastly, Aaron Rodgers says he doesn't own the Bears. Brady says he doesn't really need the Jets and sick burn. I don't know why those are together.
Okay, so Aaron Rodgers pretty much yelled after he scored a touchdown, I fucking own you to Chicago Bears. I've owned you my whole fucking life. I own you. He's 23-5 against the Bears. That dude just traveled. But anyway, so.
Also, another funny meme was when Aaron Rodgers and Pat Mahomes were shaking hands, and Rodgers was like, yeah, I'll tell you how to cut off your whole family.
You know you can just cut off your whole family, right? Also, that meme we posted about Jackson Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes' little punk ass little brother dancing on Sean Taylor's logo was mad disrespectful, and the fact that it was a picture of John.
Who
Gruden.
likes Jackson Mahomes content, bro?
Bro, he's the younger sibling nobody likes.
That's what I'm saying. Who's really watching
TikTokers?
Jackson?
TikTokers.
Are they though?
Some of you TikTokers get on my fucking nerves.
Do they even know like that he's?
This
Patrick
is a
Mahomes?
situation where you deserve to be bullied.
Do they even know that he's Patrick Mahomes' little brother, or they really just like?
They
his
probably
content?
don't. He's probably
They
more
just really
famous
like
than
his
Patrick Mahomes in the TikTok world on the fake internet. But it's like he need his ass whooped for that. I don't advocate violence, but if his old teammates, if Clint Portis was there and all the other cats from Miami saw him dancing on the fucking U, bro, what you think gonna happen?
Can't go to Florida. State.
Can't go to Florida. And then this video of him throwing water on Ravens fans after they lost.
Yeah, that was
like
bad.
a sour bitch. I don't know what they said or care what they said. One, you sitting in a better seat than them in a suite. Bro, take your ass inside, eat some of that bomb-ass free food that you getting, and chill the fuck out. Like, your brother's out here doing all this work. You out here fucking sullying the family name by dancing on a dead man's logo, and fuck that dude in the comment section who was talking shit about Sean Taylor's legacy as if you would fucking be a quarter of that person as a man or a father, but whatever. Yeah, it's just like, the people who say Sean Taylor wouldn't have been a Hall of Famer, he was on a Hall of Fame trajectory while he was playing. He was a multiple-time Pro Bowler and All-Pro. Like, his play wasn't slowing down, and they had just drafted LaRon Landry 6th overall. They were like, that's trash. No, at the time
he was trash.
At the time, Landry was good, but they wanted him to be a free safety.
He's probably better now, honestly.
I made that dude a linebacker. I made that dude a linebacker.
He beat Jamal Adams.
I made him a linebacker and mad.
He literally beat Jamal
His strength was like fucking 90, bro. It made no sense. But he had like 4.3 speed. So it's like, instead of them using him as a linebacker, which that was like a sin back then to do, which wouldn't make sense. Like, they could have just had Sean Taylor roaming as a free safety, and then LaRon Landry cleaning shit up and taking people out. And those two were supposed to be the alpha dogs at safety for the Redskins defense. It was all set up to be that.
Man, think about how many safeties
and then Reed fucking Dowdy
lifetime.
was his replacement.
No, but seriously, like, think about how many safeties have busted in your lifetime.
At least 100.
There's a lot, bro. There's a lot of safety busts.
And some of them are the same kind of player.
Yeah.
But
the crazy thing is there's also a lot of safeties that come out of nowhere, too.
A lot of safeties that are really corners, but you can't play corner because you're too small, so you play safety. Like
there's also the reverse, too.
Yeah. And safeties that are really linebackers, like the cat out of Florida State who's like 6'5", was playing fucking free safety in college, and then the Jets are like, you're a linebacker. Both their safety picks, they're like, you guys are linebackers. This is ridiculous.
Well, yeah, anyways, you didn't finish the point on Brady and Rodgers.
Oh, yeah, because, Tom Brady owns the New York Jets. He's like 30.
Jets, yeah.
Tom Brady owns the Jets. He's like 30-4 or 30-5 against them. He's like, I own them, but I don't really need them. Like, he made a stock marketing joke. He's like, it's good that, he has stake in the Bears. I mean, I have stake in the Jets, but I don't really need them. Humble brag. Funny ass brag.
I'm slowly starting to like old Tom Brady.
I'm becoming a Brady fan.
Yeah, like, this is fucking insidious.
I was like, I really just hate the Patriots. I hate Boston.
Dang, Brady has a personality. Holy shit.
Like, if Brady was...
What's this been for 20 years?
Like, if Brady was a Trump supporter on the Raiders, but he won Super Bowls, I could be like, I understand why you're a white dude from a certain part of California that don't have a lot of black people in it, but you claim the Bay Area. That's a whole nother issue. But I understand.
Wait, there's not a lot of black people in San Mateo?
Not anymore. Gentrification is a motherfucker. Gentrification is a bitch. There's literally whole towns and counties out there where it's just all Asian. So, and the cops don't fuck with them.
I mean, they built a lot of the Bay Area.
No, like there's literally like people from other countries, Korea and shit, like who just
Yeah,
that's a whole community of them, and they weren't here building the railroads.
Yeah, but those communities
they came after the wars and shit. That's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about
they went
the
there
Chinese who were here helping on the railroads.
Well, what I'm saying
black
is
people put the foundation.
What I'm saying is that started the migration because that set up those communities for those people to migrate there.
That started the migration in one part of the country. Now there's Asians all over the country. I'm just saying, in this particular part, certain parts of California, there are enclaves with just one group of people because they've literally just made it that way. And other groups of people have just gotten flushed out and kicked out. That's just how gentrification works and how money and economics works. It is what it is. But, yeah, like, there's certain parts, like, the part of East Oakland I'm from really don't exist anymore. That's the trippy part. They pushed a lot of black people out. A lot of, like, when I was at the Raiders game, I was talking to this dude from Oakland. He's like, yeah, man. We still don't consider Sacramento the Bay Area because fuck them. But San Mateo, Modesto, like, we know you got people from Oakland out there. They just moved and didn't stay because shit got too expensive. So now we claim those places. It's not just, oh, does the part touch you? But it's also like, yeah, we counting you because it's more people from Oakland up there now than there was before.
So the San Mateo makeup is 47% white, 3% African American,
white,
2% Filipino, 2% Japanese, 8% Chinese. No, 8% Chinese, 5% Filipino, 2% Japanese, 1% Indian, 1% Korean, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and look who owns economic real estate. And
5% Latino.
Yeah.
Which is really low.
Yeah, because white people are starting to get, I think it's San Mateo, it's another city too where old white people are starting to get kicked out of that city. So now they're trying to like fucking go to like, it's either the IE. I forget where it's from, but it's like old white people are starting to get kicked out of this city that they've been in for years, and now they're bitching and complaining about it, and now they're trying to come back to like LA. California is just a fucking weird tidal wave of just economic musical chairs and gentrification. But yeah. Brady pretty much owns the Jets. That's the funny part about it.
All right, so let's move on to the rants.
You sell that stock? I'm selling that stock if I own part of the Jets. Or you hold it.
Let's move on to the rants. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Do you have a lot to say?
Kind of. Not really.
All right, I'm going to get my shit out the way then.
All right.
I'm going to make a commitment to listen to Young Thug's whole album. I listened to some of his Breakfast Club interview. He really has grown in the past 10 years. If you really think about it, these last 10 years of Thug, how he started with Rich Homie Quan, everybody would have picked Rich Homie Quan over him. And what he's turned into, now he has like fucking 100.
I feel bad for Rich Homie Quan.
Yeah, but they're cool now. But it's sad how things worked out. But he
really was the one who didn't make it out of that class. But it was kind of his own shit. But then he also got fucked over by the industry, which is the tornado of shit.
Yep. But you look at Thugger, he got his whole family living in one house. He talked about how he was fighting off people in Katrina trying to extort people when they were in Atlanta. And then he talked about how, the 100 acres he owns, he's trying to build some stuff on that land. And that's really dope to just have 100 acres of land and you're building on it. He got the money to do it, the bread to do it.
When did he say this? Because this, as far as I know, this motherfucker don't do interviews.
His Breakfast Club interview.
He always late. He don't show up. He's asshole.
He just did an interview with the Breakfast Club, and they squashed the beef, him and Charlamagne. He said, I was a kid back then. I was fresh out the hood of poverty. I didn't know no better. So when I said, we gonna come whoop your ass and kidnap you, that wasn't the right thing to do. And then he talked about how like he's bought 100 acres of land, he has a helipad on it, and he's gonna build things on it. So that's dope. It's good to see growth. Like I was sitting back thinking about it. As my nephew threw up on me today after I got a fresh cut.
Isn't it funny how you can go from 100,000, like 100,000-aire and like want to fight for every dime, to like a 10 millionaire or 100 millionaire, and now you just want to give to everybody?
Yeah, he was talking about that. He was talking about his karma and how like he don't understand how Jay-Z don't just do a whole album and just do features with everybody. He's like, in Atlanta, like he said, if I do features with everybody.
That's true.
He said the gatekeepers ain't got no time for me. The so-called OGs who want to be my OGs don't have no time for me, but I got time for everybody underneath me. So what's the disconnect? Kanye got time for everybody. He'll make time for everybody. You know, why can't a guy like Jay-Z do that? Why can't other guys do that? He said,
"Don't worry, I've only been saying that for 10 years." Man.
He said, is it because, you know, it's all competitive sport and we're not supposed to be helping each other, or just because they want me to figure it out on my own? It's kind of weird, but like I wouldn't do that. I don't understand that. But I think you could just look at a person's character and see what they've done to the people that they've come up with, and you can pretty much make an inference about how they're going to treat somebody who's an acquaintance or a connection. Exactly. And my thing is, I was just looking at my nephew as he threw up on me, and he's smiling and laughing in my face. And, you know, babies really do need a lot of emotional reassurance, and it's in their eyes and your body language and how you hold them. So it's like, I smiled at him and I just laughed, and I'm just like, damn, I could see myself in you a little bit. My nephew, I'm like, that's what that feeling is. That's what that was. Like when I would give my mom stress and she's like, she can laugh at all the dumb, crazy. She said, you weren't like a normal child. You just did shit that was different. Like that adults would be like, why the fuck he do that? And now that you get older, you're like, damn. And now that like a new generation is doing that to me, it's like, aw, I feel closer than you than ever. Like, salute to the younger generation. Like, you got to protect these babies out here. They don't know what they're doing, but they know how to navigate the future better than we do. We just know how to navigate right now.
Yeah, because they don't have a bunch of past that they're still trying to process and act like it's not there.
They don't have a bunch of decay that they have to deal with. We have to deal with our shit in our own time. Our parents, people above us, are dealing with shit at maybe the end of their lives, or like as they get in the 50s, 60s, closer to that next stage where they're like grandparents and shit. We're going and taking our lumps right now, but the future generations, they're already going to be on some shit that like some futuristic shit. Like it's dope to see, but it's also like you see your place in the world and you know, okay, this is what I need to be. This is like kind of my purpose that I'm falling into, so it's dope. That's all I got.
All right, so for me this week, been a hell of a week. Feels like I've just been in a blur since like August, just moving from thing to thing, place to place, taking my brothers to practice, to doctor's appointments, to doing interviews, to working on this, to working on the newsletter, to doing the football news, the Raiders newsletter I've been doing, to working on my fellowship and my PST Media, which I officially launched the domain and website a few weeks ago. Going to be working more on that over the next few months, rolling into the fellowship week next week. So I'm really excited about that. It would just be a week for me to just really focus on that, and so I'm really excited about that. I wish it was in person so I could meet all my cohort. Was supposed to be out here in LA, so I was hoping to get a nice little staycation, hotel somewhere near USC, but it didn't work out. So I'll be doing it from home, but I'm still excited. Outside of that, man, basketball's back. It's exciting. I do have a bit of FOMO not going to Staples Center damn near every other day. I just miss driving that way. Like, I just miss being in the city, in the downtown area. But that said, shout out to Kawhi Leonard for making the NBA's top 75. representing for the IE. Reggie Miller also on there from the IE. LaMelo was balling. So, yeah, man, just IE love. Take care of yourself. Go back to therapy. Try to actually sleep for 4 straight hours so you can enter REM, not feel like shit. Don't eat processed foods. Don't rely on stimulants and caffeine. They don't supply motivation, even though you might want them to. And, yeah, that's about it. Touchdowns and Tangents. You can catch us every Thursday night for NFL Takes, Topical Tangents. Shout out to Cory for calling in. Shout out to Vanessa. She's going to be working remote now since the studio's a little bit farther.
Way farther.
And, yeah.
Shout out to Phil Jones. I can't wait to get him back on the next couple of weeks. Oh, boy, do we got some things to talk about. And, wow, Raiders Twitter is nasty. It's a nasty, violent place.
So hopefully we'll be on time next week. Hopefully we'll get the studio all set up and nice. Until then, peace.
Stay safe, y'all.